Hello everyone. Thank you for being patient with me. I was just at another appointment that of course ran late. I thought I would be back for sure, but everything takes longer than it's supposed to. But today we have another really fun, simple card. Grab a scrap sheet of paper here. Using the Merriest Moments stamp set. So yes, I'm starting to bring out some of the Christmas stuff. I know that for those of you that are planning out your Christmas cards that you need to get started. So whether or not you're looking to find that perfect set for you or you're starting your Christmas cards already, I want to give you some great ideas. This today card is a really nice simple card that is absolutely stunning. And I think you're going to love it. I actually loved it more than I thought I would too. So, so stay with me. It's pretty simple. It's actually kind of similar to last week's card. If you were here for last week, I'm going to use a scrap piece of paper here, where we made this one here with the lovely You stamp set. So it's kind of similar in that it involves, I've been thinking a lot lately that I use a lot of designer series paper, which I love and I encourage you to do, but sometimes I don't do as much stamping on my cards as I would like to. I tend to use some designer series paper, maybe stamp my sentiment and a little bit of other pieces on there, but I want to really focus on some really simple, easy stamping cards that you can make these seasons. So I think you're going to really love this one. And this one came from, Michelle Pepper. She is the one that I saw this layout from. So thank you, Michelle, for the idea here. I've changed up the colors and some of the features on it, but the idea came from her. So I love that as demonstrators and as crafters, we can share our ideas with each other. Anyways, for this stamp set, like I said, or for this card, we're going to use the Merriest Moments stamp set. I'm going to use 4 colors of ink. I have Sahara Sand, Mossy Meadow, Cherry Cobbler, and Old Olive. So we're going pretty traditional Christmas here, but you're going to love it. We're going to start with Sahara Sand, and I have a piece of white cardstock here that measures 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to make a portrait card today, which means that it is kind of tall and skinny like this. So poke your ink pad here at the top to just open it, and then it's going to flip and you can slide it into place. So we're going to start with Sahara Sand, and the stamp I'm using, I'm not sure how well you can see this. Let me see. I'm going to look in the camera to see what you guys can see. I guess you can see it. Is all of these little speckles here. So they're actually, if you look really close, well, I don't know. They're not really snowflakes. I guess they're just little speckles. We're going to use the speckles anyways with Sahara Sand. And I'm just going to really randomly stamp this kind of all around the edge like this in a circle. So this part up here, I want to leave blank. But I'm just going to kind of twist my stamp here, not really in any rhyme or reason. Use as much or as little as you like. But this kind of just fills in your card, and you'll see what I mean as we get going. So ignore the phone ringing in the background. Okay, then I am going to take the Old Olive, actually, the next one here. And I am going to stamp with the Old Olive the fern, the little fern leaf that is in that stamp set. And again, we're going to just stamp it up and randomly stamp it around the edge of our card. So some of them we want to put more in and some of them down. So you see how we get different lengths and we get it pointed different directions? That's what is really going to kind of help our card to look not so orderly, to look a lot more creative, I guess is the word. So we're going to just do this. I'm going to turn this around here and add a few more up here. Like so. Okay, we can go back and add a few more if we want, but I think I'm going to just leave it like that. So next I'm going to take the Mossy Meadow and flip that over, and I am going to use more of a broadleaf stemmed image here. So I'm going to use this one here, and again, I'm going to just randomly stamp it around the edge. So see how we've got this mix of greens here going on? And you could actually do this with one color of green. If you wanted to just use Mossy Meadow or Old Olive, you could, instead of using 2 colors, one would be full strength, and then the second one, you would just stamp off and then stamp it on your paper. And you see how you get 2 different tones? You could do that as well if you wanted to, but I like the combination of these 2 inks, and so I'm gonna just use these 2 here. And I might just stick a little one up here off of the edge a little bit. I kind of feel like there's a little bit of a hole in here. So I'm going to go back in actually with my ferny leaf here. I don't think I want any more of the mossy meadow in there, but I do want to put something in that little gap there. So let's go back in and maybe put in a bigger one pointing straight in like that. Okay. I want to make sure I just don't have any big gaps in between. The white showing through is absolutely fine. And we did the Sahara sand. Okay, so the last color we're going to use is Cherry Cobbler. And we're going to stamp our sentiment right up here in sort of this space that we left on this side here. And so the one I'm using says, thinking of you this festive season. And I think this stamp set has some really lovely sentiments in it. Together is the merriest place to be. It's just the sweetest, I think, sweetest sentiment, especially right now when we can't be together. I just think that that says a lot. So I'm going to stamp this up. And again, it's Cherry Cobbler. And just right up here, I'm just going to kind of line up my cardstock and go like this. So if you're nervous about stamping directly onto your card front because you're worried if you get it crooked or it doesn't stamp 100% correctly, that you'll wreck your card front, you can also stamp your sentiment onto, say, cut out a square piece of white, stamp it separately, and then adhere it to your card front. So that would be a really easy way to make sure you get your sentiment on there properly. But also, if you want to step up the card, meaning want to add a few more layers, you could also cut that out and add another layer behind it, which would be another focal point on your card. But yeah, we are here at Cards and Coffee, and the intent of Cards and Coffee is to make cards in 15 minutes or less that are easy, basic cards that we can just make in a pinch and but are still beautiful. So I am taking this gorgeous Cherry Cobbler ribbon from the Holiday Mini Catalog, and it has gold on the sides and it sort of shimmers the whole thing. It's called a metallic ribbon, Cherry Cobbler metallic ribbon in the Mini Catalog. And I'm just going to take a couple of mini glue dots. You can use Stampin' Seal, you could use white glue, just liquid glue, whatever you have. I'm just going to use my mini glue dots for the ribbon. Put a mini glue dot on each end, and I just tap my embellishment onto the mini glue dot and then pull it up, and it just pulls off the roll. So, and I want it to kind of go right about here. So I'm going to show you here another really easy way to add a bow to your card. So I know sometimes we'll wrap the ribbon all the way around. In this case, all I've done is just put a glue dot and tuck it in the back like that. And now I'm going to take another piece, just a few inches, I don't know, 3 inches or so. How big is that? Maybe about 3 inches. And then I'm just going to tuck that underneath and tie it into a knot. So this is a really easy way. Sometimes when you're trying to tie ribbon, especially this wider ribbon, it's a little bit difficult to hold it nice and taut on your card front when you're tying it. This way you can make sure the base is really nice and taut, and then you've got this piece of ribbon here that's like a bow. So you can leave this as long as you like or cut it as much as you want. You want to make sure you have kind of a nice pair of sharp scissors because you are going to get this fraying at the ends if you work the end of your ribbon too much. So I'm just going to cut off the ends here a little bit with my paper snips. And I've got a little extra piece there, which doesn't matter. But now you see how we've got sort of this really kind of informal bow there. It's not like your official bow, but also it makes it a little bit flatter to the surface of your card front, so it doesn't stick out quite as much either. So that's a nice option and an easy way to to tie a bow. All right, so I've got a Cherry Cobbler card base, and this measures 8.5 by 5.5, and we're gonna just fold it in half at 4 1/4. So you can score it at 4 1/4, and then just give it a nice little crease there with our bone folder. Now to put this on, I am going to use dimensionals. You know how I love dimensionals. I think dimensionals are a crafter's #1 best kept secret. It is a really easy and affordable way to add interest to your cards. It just brings up the layers off of one another, which creates a little bit of shadow, a little bit of depth in your cards, and really helps to just make them look that extra special touch. So If you don't have dimensionals in your repertoire or you haven't used them before, what they are foam adhesives. So they're double-sided adhesives that are pieces of foam. And so they come in a mini size or in a regular size, depending on what project you're using. And then you can just stick them on the back and they lift your layers up off of one another. So especially if you have pieces like your ribbon, where it might be a little bit bulky, your card is going to lay flat. It's not going to have a bump where your ribbon was. So dimensionals are awesome. Okay, last thing I'm going to add, because if you know me, I love bling, and Christmas should be about the bling. So where did I put that? I'm going to take my Take a Pick tool, and I've got the putty end here. And this is great for picking up all of your embellishments. You just kind of push towards the bottom and it picks it up. And then you can see exactly where you're putting it on your card. So I like to mix up the big ones and the little ones together. And I'm just going to actually put quite a few on here. I just kind of going around the edge of the card, around. And then if you don't like it, you can always move them after. But I'm going to put on about that many. But you can put on as few or as many as you like around your card. And so there we have it. We've got some shiny, these are the champagne rhinestones, which I think look really nice with the gold. But there are lots of different jewels that you can use. There's the holiday gems that are green and red. It's really up to you. But again, here we've made a really basic, simple stamping card in 15 minutes or less that I think is absolutely stunning and anyone would be very pleased to receive. So thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions about this card or anything else, if you need some ideas for crafting, there are lots here on Facebook as well as on my YouTube page. And I thank you for joining me. Thank you for being patient with me as I was running a little bit late today, but I enjoy this time that we have together. So happy stamping, and I will see you again really soon. Bye.